Yo, what's good, family? It's your boy Bronze the God coming at you with a video. I got the bees knees back up here again, and we're gonna go over an article and a video that actually the bees knees sent me.
Hello, everybody. Beesknees here. Happy to be with you all today.
Now we just gonna go straight into this article. Actually,
Okay.
let me get this to pull up. Now, have you heard about this?
I actually have not.
6 members of the same family stabbed in their sleep in Philadelphia.
Hmm.
That is insane.
I don't
Six.
know if I've just been desensitized, but that stuff doesn't really bother me like that anymore. I mean, it's like, oh, another one?
So you think
But
it's
it's
like
sad, still
maybe
sad.
social conditioning,
Eh.
perhaps? They throw all these
No, I
news.
feel like, well, we have information at our fingertips every day. So when people have a curious eye and they wander, like me, I used to just like I would Google random stuff just to see what it looks like or what this or that and third. And I think when you do that, you tend to look at things that normal people probably wouldn't be searching. So like when I see something like that, I'm like, oh, okay.
Hmm. Well, interesting. So anyway, this article here: 6 members of the same family were stabbed in their sleep early on Friday morning in Philadelphia, according to police. Officers were called to the Kenningston neighborhood just after 4 a.m. on Friday on reports that 6 people had been stabbed on the second floor of a residential building there.
Hmm.
That's a tweet. You want to watch this video on Twitter?
Sure. I have
You
a feeling that this is going to be a case where they say the person has a mental condition because I was reading the caption above the video and it says the bloody relative that was 29 years old was found walking 3 blocks away near where the crime occurred. So that tells me he probably, who he or she probably does not care what they look like or their appearance too much. So I feel like that's gonna be another one of those. Oh well, they had something's wrong with them mentally, and they didn't know what they were doing at the time.
yeah, whenever
Unfortunately,
whenever I hear cases like this, it's just really sad. I feel really bad for the families and everything.
mm.
There, they found victims ranging from 26-year-old stabbed in the chest and back to a 57-year-old stabbed in the forehead, as well as 2 bloody 7-inch knife blades. It is a very violent scene, Philadelphia Police Department Chief Inspector Scott Small told reporters. One of the knives, that's all metal, is broken, which goes to show how violently these individuals were being stabbed. Wow. So he stabbed them so hard, like the literal blade
Well,
on the.
yeah, I've watched a video before where like a woman was killed, and they said on the video that she was stabbed so hard and so viciously that the long blade went through her chest cavity and it was sticking out of her back.
Wow.
So yeah, it happens. I mean, every now and again you get that sudden urge to want to go stab your family members. Most people don't act on it, but
Well,
this
this guy
person
did.
did.
Wow. One of the doors in the building was also knocked off its hinges. Its hinges. The six victims were all rushed to the hospital, where three are in critical condition. Family members were able to describe the suspect, a 29-year-old male relative, and police apprehended him a few blocks away, covered in blood with cuts on his hand. Hmm. Wow. The
Well,
individual,
he's gonna say goodbye to his life.
the man. See, I
His
don't
or her
understand that.
life.
See, what I don't understand is why is that your reaction to do something like that? Sure, your family gets on your nerves or whatever. I don't know the situation personally, but there's got to be better solutions and
Well,
better
let's just play this part. Well, let's say because there were some older people that were stabbed, some older elderly people, like 50-year-old plus. Let's just say because he's 29, right?
yeah.
Okay, so let's just say that they could have done something to him in the past while he was a kid or a teenager. You know, a lot of people, sometimes people go through trauma and everybody reacts differently. Who knows? That could have been a reaction where he was like, you know what? I'm tired of these people, what they've done to me, so I'm going to just stab them. But then on the other hand, he could have just been like, hey, you guys told me to, you told me not to use up all the toilet tissue. I'm just mad about it. So, you know what? When you guys go to sleep, I'm just going to stab you. So, who knows?
Yeah, that's crazy. I can think of thousands, if not millions, of better solutions in my head right now.
Hmm.
The individual who police have
I
not
think you
named,
said it yourself one time. You said death is better than bondage. So,
I was also referring to something,
yeah,
but
I'm just saying,
that's a
like
whole other video
maybe
in
he
its own
felt like
right.
they're better off dead than
Then why don't you just off yourself then?
Yeah, but that's the thing. These killers out here, when they kill people, they don't want to kill themselves. They like to kill other people. I mean, hey, where's the fun if you're just gonna off yourself?
Hmm. Well, the individual who police have not named yet was also taken to the hospital for treatment. Family members, including the stabbing victims, positively identified him as their assailant. Officials have not yet commented at length on a motive, but believe that the stabbings may have been an act of domestic violence.
Well, there you have it.
And several young children witnessed the stabbings but were not injured. Hmm. Sounds like
Well,
he targeted specific family members to me.
does this say what color they are, or it just does not?
No, no, it does not just yet.
Mm.
So anyway,
Well,
we're about to get into that video you sent me. I don't know too much about it. Can you go into it a little bit?
well, I'm subscribed to different. Well, you call them crime channels, but they have like a variety of things, not just about crime on different channels that I'm subscribed to. But it's
It takes place in Bristol.
huh?
Hang on, bad. My bad. Hang on. Keep talking.
Okay. Well, I've actually seen different variations of this topic and this story, and basically I looked at this one because it was like a shortened type version, which was okay with me. I still watched it. So this is like one of those things where what is too far when you're in a relationship with somebody, and what was too far, like if you feel like somebody has wronged you in a relationship, and or like let's say if I feel like you've wronged me so many times, and what lengths am I able to go to make you feel my pain, or to make you be like, hey, this is what you deserve. And this is one of them. The only exception is that the poor guy, you know, he opted out for something. I don't want to say, but he opted out for something that I've not heard a lot of people actually do, because I don't think it's readily available in every single country. But in the country he was in, it was. But it came down to he had to do that for himself because of what this woman, you know, had she's done out of spite. And and then, like I said, the original question is like, what's too far? Like, she was on some revenge type stuff. So it's like, if you cheat on me, or if I feel like you're too controlling or something like that, what is the limit of what I feel like I can do to you to make you feel how I feel, or have that mindset of, well, if I can't have you,
To
then nobody
me,
can.
it's just not worth it. If you got to go through those links and jump through those hoops just to get that person's attention, it's really not worth it.
Well, think about it this way. Think about it. If you're with somebody and that's like the best person you've ever been with, and you know that if you lose that person, you're probably never going to find someone like that, and you're probably never ever going to be treated like that again. So just imagine, and you know that deep down in your heart that if you call it quits with this person, then you're not probably ever going to find someone like that
Damn
again.
that, it's 7 billion people on this world, if not more. Maybe I think it's actually 10 billion.
But I mean, not everybody's the same. Everybody has their own little quirks and whatnot.
Yeah, that's correct. But
But I
yeah,
mean, in her eyes, she could have been like, "Well, he's the best person, that's been good to me this whole entire time, and if I can't have you, nobody can." But yeah, basically, it's a spiteful type revenge type thing, um, and just a heads up, she is black and he is white, so yeah,
oh, so we got a zaddy situation. Okay,
and he ain't no zaddy no more.
all right. So
He
let's
ain't
check
no
this
zaddy
out.
no more.
And you just made my ears perk up with that one. Okay, all
He's
right,
6 feet under there, buddy.
all right.
Not saying that what she did is right, but basically it's one of those situations where if I can't have you, nobody can. And the reason why I like this video is because of the, I don't want to say, but the what happened at the end and how he went out. Because I've actually seen a lot of crime videos, and I've never actually heard people talk about that or actually do that, because like I said before, I don't think it's offered everywhere or in all the countries. And I thought it was unique because it's like, I haven't really looked it up really much any since I've seen the video, but I was wondering, I'm like, well, are we allowed to do that here? And you'll see what I'm talking about. But
Okay,
I've
well let's
always
check it
wondered,
out.
and because we do it to animals all the time.
Right. Well, let's check this out.
Okay.
So, in the United Kingdom, on the morning of the 23rd of September 2015, a woman named Dr. Nick White was awakened by the sound of her doorbell ringing, accompanied by the sound of screaming and shouting. She opened her curtains and peeked outside. She saw a man dressed only in his underwear. He also appeared to be covered in mud from his head to his shoulders. At first, Nick thought this was some kind of weird joke or prank, but the man was screaming and begging for help. And then, a man named Thomas Sweet came out of one of the flats down the street, wielding a golf club. Thomas was no attacker. He too had heard the sounds of screaming and shouting and was worried that somebody needed some help. At first, he thought the sounds were due to a couple of foxes fighting, but then he realized it was a person screaming. He had come outside to assist. A couple of the other neighbors in the area had also come outside to see what was going on. They approached the screaming man, and they realized this really wasn't some kind of strange prank, and he wasn't covered in mud. They realized this man's skin was literally melting and was coming off in clumps. The man's name was Mark van Dongen. Mark was 28 years old and was originally from the Netherlands. He had moved to the UK to study. He worked as an engineer and had a long-term girlfriend, a 48-year-old woman named Belinda Wallace. The couple had met in 2010. Belinda was a fashion student and was almost 20 years older than Mark. In
Oh, so they were already kind of weird couple to begin with. 20-year age gap.
Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting.
Also, when I first, like I told you, I've seen different variations of this story, but the one right here where he says, the woman thought it was mud. I first I when I first watched it's like, well, why would you say it's mud? But then when they said that it's his skin melting, and can you just picture that somebody you it's dark outside, and you in your undies and your robe, whatever, you naked, and you look outside, you think somebody playing a prank, and you thinking that it covered in like mud and shit, and then we go outside and you realize some fucking dude's face is falling off, or his face is falling off his fucking face. you know just imagine. And it's like, what do you do other than obviously calling 911? But like, what do you help? Do you touch him something? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know what I would do. I'd just be like, well, dude, best I can do is call 911,
that's
because I would not.
absolutely insane. Yeah, and the fact that it was his skin literally melting off. I wonder what did she do? Like, did she throw acid on him or something like that? I
it,
guess the video is gonna.
it'll I'm gonna say it'll say.
In August of 2015, the relationship had broken down. Mark's friends said they would often see scratches all over his body, and on one occasion, Berliner had poured boiling water on him as he slept. So Mark did the right thing and he left the relationship. He had also met somebody else. On the 2nd of September 2015, 21 days prior to Mark being found in the street, Berliner had gone onto her computer and began searching a certain topic: acid attacks. She looked at 82 cases of these attacks and what had happened to the victims. After she had browsed on some of the various sites, she went onto Amazon and was able to purchase a bottle of concentrated sulfuric acid. On this very same day, Mark called the police and told them that Berliner had been harassing him and his new girlfriend. Berliner had called Mark's new girlfriend numerous times on the phone, but when she picked up, Berliner wouldn't say anything. She would just stay silent in an attempt to be intimidating. Berliner had also told Mark that if he was really to leave her, she would take her own life. The police contacted Berliner and warned her to stop. Mark also called his father on this day too. He told his father that he was genuinely scared of Berliner. He explained about the scratches and the boiling water. He was fearful that she may do something else. Despite his fears, on the night of the 22nd of September, Mark went round to Berliner's flat to reiterate that their relationship was
Can
indeed
you pause
over
it real quick,
and
please?
to try and make some.
Now, see, the only one thing, and all the variations I've listened to, the one thing I don't ever understood is, he said, they said he went to her place where she stays to tell her, and mind you, early in the morning, to tell her that they're through and they're done. To me, I feel like if you've already been broken up with her for like a month and a half, 2 months, and you have a new girlfriend that you go unsteady with, why would you see that's the part that doesn't make sense to me. Why would you go over there to tell her you're through? I feel personally that she might have been, it doesn't say that, or it doesn't insinuate that, but I feel like she probably enticed him in a way. Like how some couples will be like, well, can we do such and such one last time and then I'll leave you alone. I'll let you be. I'm thinking that's what she probably was trying to do to him. And he's a man. Men do what men do sometimes, and I'm thinking he probably fell for it. And so he went over there early in the morning again, thinking he's probably gonna get some. And then, because Oh, I don't want to spoil it, but because when you go over there that early in the morning, what are you trying to do? You going over there early in the morning. That's like a woman going to some dude's house early in the morning just to tell him that they're gonna break up, they're through. They're not dating anymore. Like that's silly to me.
I tend to agree, but again, why would you go back to someone that has already abused you? She's already done all kinds of stuff.
What
She
did you hear?
threw
What I said?
boiling
That
water on
what I
him.
said was, you know how some couples they go through those abusive relationships, and they still gotta have that they have to have that sex one last time. They have to do something like that one last time to make sure that. And I'm thinking, I truly think that's probably what he went over there for. Like
That's
I'm thinking
crazy.
he probably went over there for that
That's crazy. I
because
would
he
get
didn't tell
far
his he didn't
away as
tell his
possible
current
from that
girlfriend
woman.
that he was going over there.
I would
So
get as far away as possible from that woman.
well,
That's insane.
you live and you learn.
Well, unfortunately, not it.
Well, I'm not saying unfortunate for him. He did a little bit more than learn, but okay. You can go on. You can continue.
Kind of amends, Mark had also decided to stay the night. At around 3 a.m. on September the 23rd,
Pause. Just
Mark was
pause real
sleeping
quick.
in
Sorry, just
bed.
pause real quick.
Berliner got up, walked into the kitchen.
Now, that's I didn't want to spoil the part. You say he spent the night. Now, come on. You go over to somebody's house midnight, early in the morning, up to 3 o'clock in the morning. You go over to your ex's house and you decide to spend the night. You don't tell your
Yeah,
girlfriend
he
that
was
you're doing
definitely
that.
probably gonna slide in the cookie jar.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So to me, that there's no. I mean, he probably thought he was gonna get some because first you didn't tell your girlfriend, your current girlfriend, that you're over at your ex's house spending the damn night. Because for number one, even if you told her that, I don't think she'd be like, "Okay, sure, go ahead." No woman is gonna do that bullshit. Um, so he went over there probably trying to get some, and had a rude awakening.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
But no matter, you still shouldn't do that to people. Like regardless if he did intend to get some, willing voluntarily from her, consensual, you still shouldn't do that to people. What's about to happen?
Thing
You
is,
still shouldn't
she's
do that.
batshit crazy. She threw boiling water on you. Where's the logic?
Hey, don't ask me.
And poured some of the acid she had bought into a cup, and then returned to the bedroom. She woke up Mark, laughed at him, and said, "If I can't have you, then nobody can." Berliner then threw a large quantity of concentrated sulfuric acid directly into Mark's face. Mark was instantly in a tremendous amount of pain. He was able to run outside, and the neighbors came to his assistance. They found him screaming in agony, begging for somebody to help him. The neighbors called the emergency services and they told the operator that his ex-girlfriend had thrown acid in his face. They then assisted Mark,
Could
guiding
you
him
pause
into
it
a
for a
flat
sec?
so he could take a cold shower to soothe.
Now, the pictures you see there, that's from when he was lying down and she threw it on him. That's why the people in the beginning say when they went outside, it looked like he had mud on his face because that's probably what it looked like. That's probably what his face looked like. And I mean, from a distance, that could look like mud to some people.
So is
And
that like melted skin or
yeah,
what is that? A mixture of
it's
acid?
probably his skin because well, you see the redness on the pillow where it hasn't burned through. That's probably his blood and skin stuff.
Wow.
But also, I subscribe to this channel. It's called True 911, I believe, and they like you listen. They listen to all kinds of like people calling 911 from different countries and whatnot. And I actually listened to the call that they made, um, for this case. I listened to the call, and in the call, you can hear the people talking, but you can also hear him screaming loudly in the background, almost kind of like a
No.
grunting, but it was very loud. And you can
I,
hear
I
like the
can
pain
imagine.
in his voice.
I can imagine if you have acid thrown on you and your face is melting off, you be in some
Yeah.
pain.
Hmm.
I said you be in some pain. Just saying, if you have acid
Yeah.
on
I
and your
yeah,
face
I
is
heard him in
literally
you can
melting
hear
off.
him in the background just screaming and grueling in pain, you know. And the people that are talking to the operator, they're trying to they're he's screaming and they're trying to figure out what to do, and it's just crazy.
The pain until the paramedics arrived. The paramedics arrived on the scene and found Mark in a horrendous state. He was foaming from the mouth and had extremely severe chemical burns on his face, chest, shoulders, arms, and legs. They quickly administered pain relief and rushed him to hospital. On the journey there, Mark was repeatedly saying that he couldn't see anything. The paramedic looked into his eyes only to see that one of his irises had dissolved. Mark told the paramedics exactly who was responsible for doing this to him. He begged for the police to go and check on his new girlfriend. He was worried that she too could have suffered the same fate. The police made their way over to Berlina's flat, and inside, they found her just sitting on the sofa. She was, of course, quickly arrested. The police checked on Mark's new girlfriend, and thankfully, she was absolutely fine. When Mark arrived at the hospital, he was able to catch a glimpse of himself and saw the extent of his injuries. Mark screamed and stated that he no longer wished to live. Mark had to be put into a coma for 4 months due to the extent of his injuries. He was only able to breathe with the assistance of a ventilator. The acid had also caused a great deal of damage to his lower left leg, so much in fact that it needed to be amputated. The sulfuric acid had continued to burn, not only through the skin and muscle, but also all the way down to the bone. The acid had destroyed the membrane surrounding them, and some of Mark's bones were full of cavities. It caused him an unbearable amount of pain. Mark's nose had been completely destroyed, along with one of his ears too. The police searched for Mark's family so they could contact them and let them know what had happened. His family lived in the Netherlands, so it took around 10 days, but they were able to find them. Once hearing the news, his family rushed to his side to be with him. When Mark's father arrived, the hospital staff told him where he could find Mark. He perhaps didn't fully know the extent of Mark's injuries, as when he arrived on the ward, he looked for his son but couldn't see him anywhere. He returned to the desk and told them they had made a mistake, but they hadn't. Mark's injuries made him completely unrecognizable even to his own father. Mark eventually came out of the coma, and when he did, he only had movement in his mouth and tongue. He communicated by sticking out his tongue when his father pointed to a letter on an alphabet board. After some time in recovery, he was able to start talking again, but he was paralyzed from the neck down. Mark became deeply depressed. The pain, the trauma, and not being able to move took a huge toll on his mental health. Mark's injuries were so severe that the police decided that the pictures should never be released. From now on, Mark would need a lifetime of constant and dedicated care. On the 22nd of November 2016, a care home was found for Mark in Gloucester. Only one night at this care home, Mark called his father.
So he
Yeah.
didn't die from initial.
Well, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but we got to keep watching for that. But yeah, that's terrible. That's very very terrible. That's terrible.
That's
Like,
an awful way to live. Like your
yeah,
bones have holes in them. You're paralyzed. You can't breathe on your own.
yeah. I mean,
Some people really
from
don't
what I've
need to be in
heard off of
relationships.
multiple videos, they say people have seen pictures, but they were confiscated. They were quickly removed from the internet because they were really really bad. Like, and they a lot of people I've heard say he looked almost like a little bit skeletonized in the face.
Wow.
But
Yeah, so some people do not need to date. And she is definitely one of those people in particular.
my thing was when I seen her and I was like, to me I was like, well, she is so beautiful. She could just she's beautiful. She could get anybody she wants. Like, anybody she wants. Like, really truthfully she probably could because she's very beautiful, and she was a modeling student. So like I feel like you have you literally have a gift that probably not a lot of women have. Um, but like it comes down to what I said. A lot of people, they'll get with a certain person, they'll think that's the best that they've ever had, and they think they, if they lose that person, then that's it. Kind of like when you lose, if you're close to your parent or something, and if your parent dies, it's like, they were like the best thing, so you kind of, there's no one quite like them. There may be a few that's similar but not quite like that person. you know and she probably felt that, hey, if you're not gonna be with me, then hey, bye.
That's
So,
insane.
and she
But
felt
like I
like what
said,
she did
where's
was
the thought
right. So,
process? Where's the thought process? Like, damn, that's the best zaddy you could find. Like, wow.
and well, think about it. You gotta also, I've never seen any pictures of the current girlfriend, so you gotta think about it. Like, if she feels like she's prettier than her, then she's probably gonna feel like she's jealous, and then that's really gonna make her go crazy, because then she's really gonna be like, well, you trying to.
I don't
And then
think
a
that's
lot of girls think,
necessarily the case because she probably would have went for her.
well, eh, well, I hate to say it like this, but when you're the common denominator, you tend to go for the common denominator, so to get rid of the problem. So, my thing is, if a girl feel like, some girls or some women feel that, if they break up with you, or you get dumped by a guy and you get another girl, some women feel though as like, oh, you're just getting another girl just to make me jealous and to spite me. And
Men
my
can't feel.
thing,
Wait a minute. Men can't feel that way either.
but did it say at any point in time that she had a new boyfriend?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay,
But you just made a
I'm
general
talking
statement.
about this
I'm
at
saying,
hand. Of course, men can feel that way. Yes, of course, men can feel that way. But I'm talking about this particular case, in which the reason why I feel that way, because if he went over to her house late at night to spend the night, come on, like two grown adults, one bed, you're spending the night over there. What were they planning on doing? And my thing is, he probably did, because he wasn't with the current girlfriend for that long. So my thing is, yeah, he probably did get a new girlfriend, probably to make her a little bit jealous. And then when she,
why would he
started
do
stalking
something
the
like
girl,
that?
his girlfriend calling her back to back, he probably wanted to go over there and, oh
See,
well, if I.
to me, that don't make much sense because to
But then
me,
again, think about it. The girl that threw at his ex girlfriend, she's vulnerable. She's in a vulnerable state because she can't do anything about it. She can't make him break up with his current girlfriend because he was still with her. Think about it. She's in a vulnerable state. And what's the one thing that women do sometimes to get your attention? What do they offer?
well,
Exactly. And
my thing
if
is
that
that this
person
whole
had
situation is
previously
weird.
loved you in any way, shape, or form, more than likely they probably wouldn't turn it down.
My thing is this whole situation is weird. Okay, why are you still messing with this woman? Already, she's shown you who she
Did you
truly
hear what I
was.
just said? Did you hear what I just said?
Bronze God.
Bronze God. Did you hear what I just said? What's the one thing that women offer men that a lot of men don't turn down? They don't turn it down for AIDS, herpes, and they even do it when you have
I
STDs.
think you're
Come
generalizing
on,
a lot of males. You're
huh?
generalizing a lot of men.
I'm not
You-
trying
You're,
to,
you're,
but
what you're doing is you're
bronze
saying
God.
that
But come on, be
men
be real. Come on,
that
let's be real. The dude went over there,
that's not very
and
realistic.
the dude went over there late at night to spend the night, even though he knew this woman had abused him in the past. But he still went over there. Come on, be real.
I don't think that's a fair statement to make because you're
Well, come
generalizing a lot of men.
on.
You're
Like,
saying men
okay, so if
in
this was
general.
flipped, and this dude was abusing her, and she went over to his house to spend the night, what would you think about that? And you didn't know if he was planning to attack her or not. If she just went over to his house at late at night, what would you think is happening?
Well, We're
Come
not going to
on.
go into detail, but yes, I agree with what you're saying as far as that
Exactly.
aspect.
So when you say, well, why he was still messing with her, because she probably, and truth be told, how I really feel, I feel like before this even happened, I feel like, because they said she was calling the girlfriend back to back, and he was telling her to stop. My thing is, throughout that whole little process, I think he was still sleeping with her.
Yeah, I mean, there was probably some relations going on, or he had some
He probably was
attached
still sleeping
feelings
with her,
still for
and
her.
and that's also why I think she felt jealous, because he probably was. I'm just making an assumption. I'm not saying it's definitely true, but if he was still messing with her, sleeping around with her, the girl, his ex-girlfriend, probably felt jealous because he was with the other girl. So she's probably thinking in her mind, well, if he's still sleeping with me, then why are you still with that girl? If you're still sleeping with me. And that's true. A lot of females do that sometimes. They'll be like, well, if he broke up, if he still sleep, like the baby mama example. Like, well, like he's still sleeping with me, even though, he got a girlfriend. I'm his baby mama, but he still sleep with me. So it's kind of like that, and you get
A terrible
jealous.
situation to be in, by the way.
But that's true. I mean, you're right. It is a terrible situation, but it happens. That happens. A lot of these women be having to do babies, and then they be like, "Well, he's still doing this to me. He's still doing that to me." They'll tell the current girlfriend, that to make her jealous and to make her feel some type of way. And in this example, if he was still sleeping with his ex was probably feeling jealous because he was with the other girl. And as you heard what they said right before she threw it on him, she said, "If I can't have you, then nobody can." So, and my thing is, you can make an assumption
Added,
because he went over there to spend the night. So,
I think that's an added part. How do they know that was even said?
she could have told him that.
Mm. That's such a prototypical line, though. Like, I don't know.
But think about it. Think about what she's doing.
Yeah,
She's
her
about to pour
actions may
acid
have
on some
said that.
fucking body. Like,
Yeah,
if you
she's
felt like you're
insane.
in
She
she
poured boiling
probably
water
felt
on
in
him
control,
before.
Kirkland. She probably felt she was in control. So she's saying whatever she wants. And honestly, she was in control of that situation because she got what she got. She threw it on him and she threw it on his face. And the rest is the rest. But like I say, I mean, you're going over to this woman's house. She's your ex. You know she was abusing you. You're going over her house to spend the night. Like, dude, I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying what she did was right to him. Of course, it's not right. But at the same time, that was a preventable situation. I'm sorry. I feel like it was. Just like
Yeah,
if it was the opposite, if she went over there knowing that he's abusing her and has been hitting on her, if she went over there to spend a night, I feel like that was preventable.
but
You didn't have to do that.
regardless, I mean, granted, maybe he was doing his dirt behind his new girlfriend's back, but still, I don't think somebody that constitutes somebody getting acid poured on
No,
them.
that's why I'm not.
And
I
that's
didn't
what
say
you're
that.
kind of
That makes.
insinuating that when you're
I
making
didn't
that
say. I'm
point.
not insinuating that that's what he deserves or that's what he gets. I just said that that's regardless. You shouldn't do that to people. You shouldn't throw acid on people's face or try to harm them in any physical way. But all I said was it was preventable. I mean, it
Yeah,
was. It was
I agree.
preventable. He didn't, because if he knew this girl was hitting on him and throwing boiling water on him, stalking your girlfriend, calling her nonstop, back to back, breathing over the phone, like why would you want to go over there? Only for one other reason. And then I also thought, well, she could have bribed him. She could have said, well, if you do this with me one last time, then I'll stop doing what I'm doing. She could have did that too. She could have enticed him over there saying, well, if you come over here for one more night, then I'll leave y'all alone. And he probably thinking that, well, if I do that, she'll just leave us alone and we could go about our lives.
Anyway, let's try and finish this video here.
You paused it.
Father and pleaded with him to come to Gloucester to pick him up. Mark's father drove 800 miles to his son at the home. Once he entered, He found Mark in his room, covered in his own feces. Mark's father promised him he would get him out of there as soon as possible. Mark's family and friends were able to hire a private ambulance and managed to get Mark back to his country. They found him a care home with much better care. If things weren't already bad enough, Mark developed a lung infection. A tube needed to be inserted into his throat to remove liquid. The operation would mean that Mark would no longer be able to talk. Speaking to his family was the only thing that was keeping Mark going. Now unable to talk, Mark decided that he wanted to apply for euthanasia. Euthanasia is legal in Belgium, and Mark's application was granted. On the 2nd of January 2017, Mark and his father spent some quality time together for the last time. The doctors came, and at 7:15 p.m. he was pronounced dead. Mark passed away at the age of just 29. And the trial would begin in 2018. Berliner's defense argued that Mark had died at the hands of the doctor in Belgium during the euthanasia process, rather than at Berliner's hands, and thus she could not be guilty of his killing. Berliner also accused Mark of being controlling and violent, and claimed she believed that she was throwing a glass of water at him, not acid. She also said that Mark had left the acid on the side of her bed, hoping she would drink it in the middle of the night. Berliner made up numerous lies and excuses for what she did to Mark. But Berliner's search history showed an obsessive amount of premeditation. She had looked at many stories of acid attacks. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she wanted to destroy Mark's life in the cruelest of ways. She had also tested out the acid beforehand on a table. She knew full well how corrosive the acid was. The judge overseeing the case called the attack premeditated, sadistic, malicious, and callous. She stated that Berliner was manipulative, controlling, and dangerous. The judge said to Berliner, "Your intention was to burn, disfigure, and disable Mark so that he would no longer be attractive to any other woman. It was an act of pure evil." When the judge read out the extent of Mark's injuries and how he suffered following the attack physically and mentally, Berliner showed absolutely no signs of remorse. Instead, she just continued to lie about Mark and about what happened. In the end, she was cleared of murder and manslaughter, but was found guilty of throwing a corrosive substance with intent. Berliner was sentenced to a minimum of 12 years in prison. There are now marks on the doorbell that Mark rang when he pleaded for help. The acid that had burned through his skin had also corroded the metal, a chilling reminder to the locals who live in the area. The fact that there are no images of Mark makes me wonder just how bad the injuries were. And as I said earlier, even Mark's father was unable to recognize his own son. To me, acid attacks are one of the most evil and twisted things that a person can do to somebody. Not only does it cause a great deal of pain, but it also causes lifelong disfigurement. An acid attack also damages your muscles, skin, and bones in a way that hinders mobility. There is constant discomfort for the rest of your life that never ends, and the victims often need regular surgery. The victims also suffer PTSD, depression, and anxiety. The burns also result in a greater chance of developing cancers. It is a level of cruelty that is just unfathomable to me. In my opinion, someone who carries out such an attack deserves life in prison. Sadly, people all over the world suffer from these attacks. They tend to be fueled by jealousy, or somebody wanting to seek revenge for cheating, or even if a partner just wants to leave. I know that here in the UK, they have been used in gang attacks. I'll do my best to cover more of these kinds of cases. Perhaps I'll make a long-form video on the topic and see what happens. I have already covered the story of Katie Piper, who is perhaps one of the most famous victims. Katie created a charity for people affected by burns and has done a great job at raising awareness. A link to the charity will be in the description and pinned in the comments too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that end part is what I thought was kind of unique.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then they tried to get her for murder. I found that interesting.
Honestly, I think they should have
Well,
because I get the doctor. To me, I call it a technical suicide, but yeah, the doctors did it per se, but why did he have to do it? Why did he want to do it?
But her actions didn't directly lead to him dying.
I mean, Kirkland, come on. Or Bronze the God, come on. Come on. Like, come on. Like, really, the dude was pretty much done for. Come on.
But
And why was that?
I understand where you're coming from, but to me, in my
She did, I
opinion,
feel like she did directly cause him, because, like, he wouldn't have had to go through none
didn't.
of
Her
that
actions
if
did
it
not
wasn't for her.
directly cause that, though. Did
How
not
not?
directly
How did they
cause his
not?
death. He didn't die from what she did. So how could that constitute as murder?
No, she didn't directly kill him. She did not. But come on. Like, yeah, this woman pretty much ruined his life. Like, I think she deserves more than a couple years in prison for that. So sorry if you feel like that's too much.
I didn't I didn't say
You
it was
should
too
throw
much.
acid on people
I
and pretty
agree
much
that
disfigure
he
them
should,
and
but
have them
I'm
have
just
lifelong
I'm
problems for
just
the rest
trying
of their
to get the
life.
I'm
Huh?
just trying to say the correct charges would be possibly like attempted murder. I'm not like no lawyer or nothing, but and plus that's the UK or the Netherlands or whatever.
It's Belgium, I think it was. Or no, he they took him to Belgium when he had to use euthanasia. I don't know. I
But
can't
yeah,
remember what they
I
said
don't
it was.
see
I
how
think it
you
was
can
like the
charge
UK.
that person with murder.
Huh?
I don't see how you can charge that person with murder.
Well, technically, no, they can't. They can't because technically she didn't kill him. But I feel personally that why not? He wouldn't have been in that position if it wasn't for her. So why not? Like, why not?
But anyway, let's see what you guys think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe to this channel. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.